Welcome back to Beyond Belief. I'm your host, Tyler Redman, and I am so excited for you to be here today. Guys, I have such a phenomenal guest. I can't wait for you all to meet today. She is a faith-driven, inspirational voice and transformation advocate known for sharing her powerful journey of healing, personal growth, and weight loss. She is widely recognized online as the seated cardio queen, inspiring thousands to realize that movement and wellness are possible for everybody and every season of life. Through her transparency and uplifting messages, she encourages others to strengthen their faith, reclaim their health, and boldly step into the life God has for them. She's walked the Cheer Choice Award red carpet in 2024 and 2025, and her platforms voted her in the top 5 nominees in her respective categories. I have the one, the only Nataushia Burke. Nataushia, welcome to Beyond Belief. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me today, Tyler.
Absolutely. Well, Natasha, I honestly, once I was planning out season 2 of Beyond Belief, I knew you were one of those people I wanted on here. I think your story and your testimony and just you as a person is so captivating. And I just think you have a really great story to tell. So, first off, thank you so much for being on my podcast today.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Well, first question I always ask every single guest I have on here. What is your biggest beyond belief moment that you've had with God? And it doesn't have to be the biggest one. If there's multiple, just choose one.
Well, there is a lot, and I have to also just apologize because you guys are going to hear my cat throughout this whole process. But one of my biggest moments would be whenever I came to Missouri for the Fire and Glory camp meeting. I
Mhm.
wasn't anticipating what was going to actually transpire. Like I sowed all of my money into the Lord and His kingdom. And I came with 10 days worth of clothes and literally never left. 2 days after the Fire and Glory camp meeting, I was hired at my job. 2 weeks after that, I got my now apartment. And then it was like I got promoted 70 days early with a pay raise. Like everything just kind of transpired and happened. And I was just like, okay, God, like I see you. So, like, this is the first time since 2023 that I've had a place of my own after some very toxic, narcissistic, unhealthy situations. Like, He has gotten me here.
Wow, that is so amazing. And obviously, I kind of knew a little bit of that story. And I have to say, just the whole you had closed for 10 days and never left, like, never fails to amaze me. I had Miss Megan McClintock, on here, and she had a similar situation in which, she came to I think hers was fully endowed with prophetess and then knew she was supposed to be here and moved, and then even myself, I think I fought it more than, both you or Miss Megan, coming here, but as soon as I knew I was supposed to be here, it's like immediately everything shifted in my life to get me
Mhm.
here. So it's so crazy to see that story being told different because we all are different, but there's that still same base of God working through us all and pulling us here.
Yes.
All right. Well, Miss Natasha, tell me a little bit about you. Because I really don't know much. Did you kind of grow up in the church? What was kind of early life like for you?
Oh.
Um,
Well, to be honest, I'm not going to get into my childhood, but I leaned on
mhm,
God a lot as I was growing up. My childhood wasn't perfect. I can share that, but I won't go
mhm.
that deep into detail about it. But my mom had us in church throughout most of our life, and I learned to lean on God quite a bit. Then
Okay.
I went to college to get more knowledge and lost knowledge of God in the process, to be totally transparent and real. So I fell into the worldly ways, was doing things that were not pleasing to God. And then I ended up later on throughout life kind of rekindling that flame that never fully died out. And then now I'm here in Missouri.
Fair enough. I can relate to that in so many ways,
Hmm.
especially going off to college, and you really do have all those intentions of getting more knowledge, as you said. But it's so easy in the college environment to just become incredibly worldly.
Hmm.
For me, honestly, I know literally the first week I was at school. I got a phone call from my brother. My dad had passed away, and it's like everything spiraled from that moment, and it was a good, uh, escape or reason to become more worldly and live this, life where, honestly, I didn't think much about God, um and then I look at other people we know at our church specifically that have this completely different, college experience,
Mhm.
where they never lose that connection, and I think, "Man, how envious I could find myself, um, had I just stuck to God." But tell me more. Do you have those same thoughts? I know I've talked about myself a lot, which is
It's
something I
okay.
normally do with a guest, but do you find yourself looking at others kind of in that college experience? And how do you see things are different for maybe this generation now compared to when we were kind of going into college and even being able to keep that connection with God?
Like, now I'm seeing people being way more worldly because there's a lot more people that are, like, in the blue eye thing, that are, like, thinking more of that kind of stuff, like witchy stuff, and I'm not trying to, like, make anybody feel bad per se, but at the same time, to see everybody going toward other things and not really seeking out what is real and what is truly the answer, everybody's just confused from what I can tell. I know since,
Mm.
Charlie Kirk's assassination, after the Bibles and stuff were mentioned, there was an increase in sales. But it's like
Hmm.
ultimately, I'm seeing more people being more apt to turning away from God rather than turning to God because it's been such a scary topic in voodoo, in a sense, or taboo, compared to what I
Hmm.
was used to when I was growing up. So it's like I don't see as strong as a hunger as like it was back in the day. Because like I'm 34 now. I don't know how old you are. But it's like back in my day, it was like way more of a hunger compared to what it is now. I don't see that in today's society.
See, I will say, and I've been out of college. Hold on, what's the year on that diploma? I can't even find it. I think it's been 5 or oh no, 6 years, something like that. Either way, it's been a moment, and I have to say, I think if you were to even mention God when I was in college at that time, it would have been like you'd be a total outcast.
Yeah.
Um, and so to see now, especially post Charlie Kirk, I actually from my perspective and my slightly more recent time in college, I actually do see that reverse where there is actually evidence of a hunger in young people, especially at that college level, of actually
Mhm.
wanting to seek out and maintain a relationship with God that was not there when I was in school. So it's crazy
Yeah.
how, even though there's not a short distance between us in age, there is definitely a vast difference.
Mhm. Yeah. Because I can see, like, still what people are posting on Facebooks and social medias
Hmm.
from where I come from. Because 'cause I'm originally from Kentucky. So it's like
Right.
seeing what they post and what they share, it's very differing from what I am familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more. Now, I know you were kind of brought into Springfield by a mutual friend we have, Miss Whitney Wheeler. And tell me more about how you two got connected and then kind of that zone with the weight loss and the inspiration.
So what is so funny about that particular situation is she was in MDC back in the day, back when I first started to reach out. This was like probably 2022,
Hmm.
2023-ish. But I had hit a stall in my weight loss journey and I kept seeing her because like I looked up to Whitney. I was like, oh my gosh, like she's famous, she's awesome, she's lost so much weight. Like she was my inspiration and like my like celebrity, so to speak, that I looked up to. And I had
Right.
no idea, like, what God had entailed for this process, so I actually messaged her on Facebook, and I was like, "Hey, like, I just kinda wanna ask about your drops because at that time, I was an upcoming social media influencer." So she was like, "Oh my gosh, like, God had it on my heart to reach out to you, but I didn't know how to reach out to you." So, like, we just kind of connected, and then
Hmm.
everything has grown since there, so, like, it is just so mind-blowing just to see where we started because we started in MDC and I followed her along in different, like, MLM marketing schemes, but then at the same time, we have developed a connection. And then I wanted to meet her, so we ended up meeting in Houston, Texas for the first time
Okay.
a year before I actually came to Missouri, because I wasn't gonna come to her deliverance prayer breakfast, which that's where we really, really connected. But it's like I never dreamed that just messaging her on Facebook would get me to
Mhm.
being literally 5 minutes down the road from where she lives.
That is awesome. So tell me, you were an up and coming influencer. So how long before you kind of had messaged Whitney had you been kind of doing social media and promoting weight loss?
I started probably right around when I had started my weight loss journey. So I started in 2021 because
Mhm.
at the time I weighed over 500 pounds and I had started to go to the doctor because one day I wanted to become a mom. So I have
Mhm.
PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I had to go to the doctor, get a bunch of tests done, and they had actually found precancerous cells in my uterus. And they told me that if I didn't change my lifestyle, I would end up with cancer and I would never have the possibility of having kids. So I started to change my lifestyle and I started sharing like going to the gym at like 4 in the morning, which was that was insane, but it was great. But I started sharing
Mhm.
everything all the way down to meal preps. I was starting to do like modified exercises. I was doing burpee challenges and I was sharing all of that probably a year before I connected with Whitney. And then I ended up
Okay.
getting hurt. And then that's when I transferred over to become the seated cardio queen.
Gotcha. This is all first off, I'm learning so much because I had no idea about your backstory here, Natasha.
Mhm.
Was the injury from kind of overworking out or pressing yourself too hard, or was
Yeah,
it not related at all?
it was. So after I lost around 150 to 200 pounds, I had this insane urge to like run all the time. So I was
Hmm.
like running around where I lived. I was running around the neighborhood. I was going to local parks and I was running and I thought it was normal for my ankle to burn. I was like, oh, well, I'm just like, because I'm a former college athlete too. I don't know if you knew that. I had a track and field
I did
scholarship.
not.
Yes, I had a
Wow.
track and field scholarship as a thrower. I was not a runner, but I was a thrower. But I thought it was so normal for my body to like burn. So I thought, oh, I'm
Hmm.
just working my muscles, whatever. But I ended up injuring my left ankle. I could not run. It hurt to walk. Like it hurt to put weight on my foot. So I went to the chiropractor and he actually diagnosed me. I was getting my foot relocated, all this other kind of stuff, and my ankle relocated. So I was told I could not run until my ankle actually healed. So then I had to find another form of exercise and
Okay.
created seated cardio.
And that I was gonna say that brings us to seated cardio. Now, I have gotten to jump in and watch a little bit of the live streams, and typically, I feel like you're always on when I'm at work, so I can't really participate as much. Um, Tell us more about seated cardio. Did you develop it yourself? Were there others involved? What? How? Tell us more about that process.
So I honestly started to look for seated exercises, just exercises, because me being a former
Mhm.
athlete, I was able to apply like interval training. Because essentially what
Right.
I did create, this is what I have created based on exercises that I have found. But all of the
Mhm.
exercises that I do, we do generally 14 exercises, 3 rounds, 30 seconds per exercise with a 10-second breather. But I've broken each exercise down because I have friends that have mobility issues. I know what it's like coming from 500 plus pounds and struggling to lift my legs or go under my legs. But then I also have
Mhm.
friends that are in wheelchairs, healing from like amputations, strokes. Like I have a wide array of folks that do seated cardio. So I've created these all inclusive routines because I know what it feels like to be left out. And I want to make sure everyone has a safe zone. So I provide modifications for every skill level every time I work out.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, on the scheduling, say I wanted to join a seated cardio,
Mhm.
how often are you live? I know you, I believe you also do you replays.
And
What's that time frame and when should I be joining seated cardio? Is it an everyday routine or is it maybe something I should do every other day or does that kind of depend on um, s- what you're able to do as well?
Well, right now I'm having to do pop-up sessions because of my work schedule because I don't have,
Mhm.
like it's not consistent set in stone. So I'll do a pop-up routine, but I generally work out anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes 4 depending on how my work schedule is,
Okay.
because I'm running 2 different jobs, 3 different businesses, so I have a pretty busy
Yeah,
schedule.
I'm surprised I was able to get you on based on that. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
You're not scared of hard work, clearly.
no.
All right. Well, let's see here. Tell me a little bit more. Say we just met, Natasha. What is the first thing that you would say about yourself and about what you do?
Um, I would like to say that I'm very optimistic because I know what it's like to hit rock bottom and have to reclimb a mountain every single time. But I would also
Mhm.
like to encourage you or anyone else that you will fall down at some point in time, but it's not about how you fall down, it's how you get back up because life will knock you down more than once. And I've learned that in my lifetime. So you have to be willing to pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and know that you are capable and make sure you have a circle around you that's going to edify who you are and the purpose that you do have.
That is so good. Oh my gosh. Look, I can also tell just in the way you talk how connected we are in faith and to the house that we both share as
Hmm.
a church because there's so many layers that is uh, the lifeblood of even getting down to our faith and what we believe at our church. It's so incredible. I'm blown away. Let me see. Um Tell me more about this Cheer Choice Awards, 'cause I know I don't typically always ask a guest to
Hmm.
give me a brief intro, but I wanted to do you justice here, and I am not familiar with Cheer Choice Awards. So tell me a little bit more about them.
So the Cheer Choice Awards is actually like a award show for positive creators all across the United States. So
Okay.
basically, what happens is our followers, so to speak, or one of our followers will generally nominate whoever we are. Because I think
Mhm.
that I started out, my category had like almost 50 people in the beginning.
Oh,
So
wow.
our followers will vote us all the way up. You can pay to vote, but Spread the Cheer USA is the organization that is a nonprofit organization that actually host this award show. It's usually like the last 2 years, it's been in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's an actual
Mhm.
red carpet ceremony, there's actual awards. We have like pool parties. Like it's really, really awesome because it's just a celebration of what it is that we do.
Right.
But this organization actually hosts it. And then they also do a lot of things. Like I've actually helped this year, I delivered Christmas to a family in need. They provided all of the gifts. Like all I had to do is go pick them up and deliver them to the family. They also do stuff with like school fundraisers, getting notebooks, things of that nature. Like that's what it is, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really cool. Especially so to be nominated, um, is that something that, like, your fans nominated you from the get-go and you kind of
Mhm.
went up through the ranks that way as well?
Yeah. So I actually was contacted the first year I was nominated on
Mhm.
Instagram, and I was like, this is spam. Like, this is weird. Cause I was told, like, hey, like, you're nominated for the Cheer Choice Awards in Las Vegas, Nevada to walk the red carpet. And I was like, this cannot be real. Cause I'm like, I'm from Liberty, Kentucky, a small town that has 2,003 people and not even a Walmart. I was like, how is this even a thing? So I'm sitting here and I researched it and I was like, oh, this is like valid. So then I had each sector or quarter or
Mhm.
whatever, my followers could either purchase votes, which would go into donations for Spread the Cheer USA for the fundraisers that they do for Christmas, start a school,
Right.
etc. And then my followers would vote me up, and I made it to the top 5 every year that I was actually in the award ceremony situation.
Wow. Well, that is really, really awesome. I think that speaks volumes to the type of audience that you've been able to cultivate and create. And I have to say, Natasha, you truly are so inspirational. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook, so I kind of get to see what that looks like, the content you're producing. And I think you really do inspire others and you bring that joy. And that's exactly what we need, honestly, everywhere, not just in social media, but in life in general. And
Mhm.
so to see you be able to carry that is so inspiring just for me and what I know I want to do.
That is awesome. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. Like, it really warms my heart when people, like, say that, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Well, let's see here. What else do we have to tackle? What do I not know that I need to know about you, Natasha?
Mm, I don't know. Like, I'm just a simple small town Kentucky girl that ended up being transplanted in Missouri unexpectedly, and I work 2 jobs. I don't know if you know that. I did say that earlier,
Hmm.
but I work in assisted living facilities, and then I'm also in a RCF, a residential care facility. So I work
Hmm.
with seniors, but then I also work with people that have mental health diagnoses as well. Like, I'm all about, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm all about trying to help other people because helping other people, serving other people makes my heart really happy because even in the hardest of moments, even if I'm having a bad day, if I can make somebody else smile, it makes me feel better. So that's one of my passions is always helping other people no matter how I feel.
I think I can connect to that a lot. Even on a personal level, that the ability to make someone else smile or to help provide a good moment for someone, even when it seems like your own life is crashing down.
Yeah,
Um, th- that is something that I don't think a lot of people are able to maintain or do, but I completely understand the comfort and that drive to do that. Absolutely.
absolutely.
All right. Well, Natasha, I got to be honest. I feel like, you inspire so many other people, but they don't necessarily get to hear from you as much. And even from the interview so far, I can tell, I feel
Mhm.
like you're closed off. So, one question, and we can cut this out.
Yeah.
I feel like you're the type of person who has walls to protect yourself. Is that something that you think you kind of developed later in life, or have you always kind of been um,
Um,
someone who has walls and layers and not letting people in easily?
to an extent, like this actually occurred um later on, like after college years. A lot of people
Hmm.
don't know this. I have shared it a few times in some of my live streams, but um I was 5 months into my first relationship. This was in college because I never had a relationship whenever I was in high school. Like, I was always made fun of because I was overweight, never wanted whatever. But
Hmm.
I was in a relationship with a guy, and we were 5 months in, and he looked me dead in my face. We were in an argument one day, and he was like, "I've never loved you. I've never liked fat girls, and I decided to date you because I thought you were a sweet girl, so I thought I'd eventually fall in love with you." Um, it went really, really bad, and we ended up breaking up. And then later, like on down the road, he ended up finding me in 2022 on Facebook, and he apologized to me. He let me know he had cancer. Um, he shortly after died, and that had a pretty big impact on me.
Hmm.
And then throughout this time period, I've also dated. I was kind of seeing another guy who was out of Florida,
Hmm.
and we had actually met in Georgia around Thanksgiving one year. We got super close, like we were texting all the time, whatever. Um, he ended up dying. So I've lost like 2 people that I loved a lot, including my father. My father passed away in 2017.
Hmm.
Um, so I've lost a lot of people that I thought that I would never lose. So
Right.
I've also been mistreated severely and mentally abused, physically abused. a lot of it, like, I've been through a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse, so I did establish, like, walls because 'cause I'm very reluctant to let people in because my trust has been so broken in my late
Mhm.
20s up to my 30s. My heart's been broken a long time. Like, this has been the first season of my life that I've chosen to be completely single and focus my energy on God and myself and my relationship with Him. That's been one of the hardest decisions that I've ever had to make because of the walls that I have created, because I never learned how to love me. I never learned how to accept me for how I was and know that I was worthy because I never learned to love myself through God's eyes. So I have built these walls, and it's very hard for me to let people in, but once I let the walls down,
Mhm.
I still end up getting hurt or I still end up getting thrown away. I can tell a person like everything I've been through, and like it'll still end up coming into fruition somehow. Even though they'll be like, I love you, like this will never happen, like I'm here for you, I've always got your back. That's been all of my life. So I do
Mm.
have walls, but that's
No,
my story.
I think as people, our story is who we are, and once you get to hear someone's story, everything that may not make sense about them typically can begin to make sense. One of the things I would like to share with you, I was in, I believe it was my first mentorship session ever with Prophetess Brenda McClintock. And I make a joke, if it rains, I'm going to cry in mentorship. But then I went one day when it was sun shining and I still cried in mentorship. Uh, but she gave me one of the biggest nuggets that I have learned I have to hold on to, and it's something I still struggle with myself. Um, but you have to love yourself enough to love yourself. And she related it right back to scripture. Um, and she goes, "What does Jesus say?" Jesus says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself," which
Mhm.
inherently Jesus is telling us we have to love ourselves. And for me personally, that's something I think I've struggled with the most. And then it kind of almost gets transferred into other friendships or relationships I have, because there's that lack of love for me. Even though I can love so greatly for others,
Mhm.
it still almost like bounces back towards me, because of my own thoughts. So if that advice does anything for you, I pray so much, that it does, because that, ah, I cried obviously, but it's done so much in the last, what, 3 years or so,
Mhm.
and changing my life and changing just my own opinion about myself.
She is amazing because, like, I've actually already had 3 sessions with her,
Mhm.
and she has absolutely like, my first one, I walked in and, like, we hadn't even spoke yet, and I was already, like, crying. I was like, "What is this?" But she
Absolutely.
has been a game changer, and the advice that you just shared that she blessed you with is
Mhm.
very helpful.
Absolutely, and, for anyone watching, I don't always plug, Prophetess and Mentorship Institute, but go to Brenda McClintock, min.com, and check out Mentorship Institute. Goodness gracious. The on the insights of even yourself, that Prophetess can give, it's the whole reason I'm doing my podcast, is because she pushed me towards that. And I'll be honest, I'm not as good at being in my sessions as I need to be. But still, even when, from the little breadcrumbs that I've received, I've been able to develop so much. So if that's something you want to do, reach out to, again, it's Brenda McClintock, min.com.
Mhm.
Um, and just let's plug Prophetess for a minute. Uh,
Yes.
now that I've plugged Prophetess for the day, which again I didn't expect that. Natasha, tell me more about you. You went to the first prayer breakfast, right?
Mhm. I
Okay,
did.
I know we have one coming up, I think this Saturday that
Saturday.
we're filming,
Yep,
actually.
Saturday.
Tell me more about that prayer breakfast experience. Obviously, I wasn't there, um, so I would love to hear, what is it that kind of, attracted you in that moment? How was that, before or after Fire and Glory?
That was, like, my
Before.
first experience at all with
Mhm.
Eagle Heights, but,
Okay.
I'd actually came to the deliverance breakfast very broken.
Mhm.
I don't talk about it a lot, but I was like in this, I'm going to call it a fake marriage.
Okay.
That's what it was. That's the quick summary. But I was very broken. I just come here. I almost didn't come. But I knew that God wanted me here for something because even before the prayer breakfast, like, because I was with Whitney, I was
Mhm.
able to meet some of the speakers before the event even happened. And it was like, it was confirmation that the situation that I knew that I needed to get out of, but I didn't have the guts per se to do it on my own. God was sending me the nuggets before I even got to the deliverance breakfast. I was like, okay, like, God, like, I hear you. I'm done. I'm getting out. Like, this is it. Like, whatever. Well, not whatever,
Right.
but but I ended up going to the deliverance breakfast, and then I heard every single one of the speakers. That was also the first time, because the first time that I really got to experience Eagle Heights was on Ultimate Worship, and I was in Ultimate Worship that Thursday before that deliverance breakfast, and I
Mhm.
was just boo-hooing. Like, I was like, "What is this?" But I ended up getting to experience God on a whole nother level that I hadn't experienced since I was in high school when I went to Camp Calvary in Mackville, Kentucky, which was church camp. So it was like I felt that connection that I hadn't had in forever. And then it was like I got to experience church.
Yeah,
And that was
absolutely.
wild.
Here's a question for you because there's not been many people I've spoken to at our church that kind of had a transition period where they were living away and watching the live stream.
Mhm.
Uh, Were you able to plug in and watch, say, church live and feel every bit as if you were there in the building? Is that an experience that you think you could testify to?
There were moments that I did because I made a time like every Sunday evening. I hated that they didn't
Hmm.
have Wednesday services because I was fiending for church in a way that a drug user fiends for their drugs. I'm not even gonna play. Like, that's the best way that I can describe it. But
Right.
I had actually even started tithing before I even came to Missouri. Even though I didn't have the funds, like, I was already tithing, and I was like so engulfed in wanting to be here to experience the Spirit the way that our church has it. Because I've never
Hmm.
experienced the Holy Spirit like this. I've never experienced people laying hands and people like falling out in the Spirit. Like, most people would run. And I'm like, let me run to it. Like, let me get some more of it. But I did get like some of it, but being in person, whew. Mhm,
See, and that's first off, there are so many similarities between us right here. I can almost remember uh, the very first time I used to get paid on Fridays, I think it was, and this would have been like February of 2023, I think, February or March. Um, like I got my payment or paycheck, and I was like, "This is it. This is." I was still living in Kansas City, but I was like, God, I understand, like, I'm coming back to you, uh, I need to start tithing, and I remember, like, hitting send and submitting my very first tithe, um, honestly, of my life. I know even as a child, you're given cash to tithe, but that was my first serious time I've ever even tithed,
mhm.
and then I literally every Sunday, I was right there at my computer. I was like, "I ain't getting up for nothing. I am having church," and it was so crazy the way in Kansas City I would sit in the same chair I'm in right now, funny enough, and I'd plug in and I'd listen to church and it's like I would feel the Holy Spirit connect with me, and it truly helped feed me and keep me rooted to where I was going to go.
Mhm,
So I love hearing that it was the same for you. I think one, that's confirmation that you were supposed to be here, but two, I think it speaks volumes about our church and
mhm.
that so many people truly are called to be there, even that aren't here today yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Well, tell me, so you go to this prayer breakfast, and I know we're jumping all over the place, but that's fine. You,
It's okay.
you go to the prayer breakfast. You had these awesome encounters. Did you immediately know you were coming back for Fire and Glory after that, or what? What did that timeline look like for you?
So what is so crazy is I ended up that Sunday after the prayer breakfast, I told Whitney, I said, "Listen, I'm moving here for your church." I literally told her that. And then we found out the following Sunday, Eddie James Ministry was coming that following Sunday. So I was like, "Whitney," I was like, "Are you doing anything next week?" So she was like, "No." I was like, "Well, can I come back?" Like, so I came back the following weekend and I
Mhm,
was here for the Eddie James and I was here all weekend. And then I didn't come back until Fire and Glory after that. Like, I went back to Kentucky. I got me a job working at a hotel I didn't expect. None of what happened to happen.
mhm.
And then I left. I was supposed to actually return and work. And the day that I had my job interview, I had to call and let them know. I was like, I actually got hired and I'm supposed to, because I was supposed to work. I got hired on a Tuesday. I was supposed to go back to work on a Wednesday. I started my new
Mhm.
job on Thursday. So I was like, I can't come back home because I was actually blessed to be in a situation where I was able to stay in Missouri and stay with a church friend until I got my home.
Absolutely. What an awesome testimony, Natasha. I remember, that you and I don't remember all of Whitney's friends that came down, but I remember, seeing when Yins had came back for Eddie James, 'cause I think some of them might have came back too, or my memory might be fuzzy, so if I'm wrong, it's fine. Uh, but I remember you coming back, and I remember my own thoughts. I'm like, "That girl, she gonna be coming to Eagle Heights all the time before long." So it's funny that even from the outside looking in, you really could see you were meant to be here.
Absolutely. And I don't regret it at all.
At all. Well, Natasha, let how can people connect with you? Because I know so many people are going to watch this, and
Mhm,
you've shared some of your story, which thank you so much for. But I know they want to hear the inspiration that you are, and join Seated Cardio. How can they
mhm.
get connected with you?
Well, I actually have Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Okay.
And my name really is spelt with a whole entire alphabet. I have every vowel in my name. My mom was like, "You know what? They're gonna pronounce Natasha correctly," and that was so wrong. But, on TikTok, I'm known as Downsizing Natty, Natti, and then
Mhm.
my Facebook, my main account, because I do have a backup because my Facebook's been hacked before, um, but my main Facebook is Natasha Olivia, and then my YouTube is also Downsizing Natty, that is Natti, and then it's also under Nataushia Burke, which that's my last name.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I will do, Natasha, I'll make sure we have all your links in the description below.
Mhm,
It'll be on every platform we're on. And then, honestly, other than that, do you have any last thing you want to leave our guest with today?
yeah, I'm just really curious. Do you wanna do a workout routine with me one day?
You know what? It's so funny you asked that. I think that would be fantastic.
I think that we should do that. But other than that, like, the only thing that I really wanna leave with people is just keep your head up and know that you are worthy and you are enough, because I want people to understand that your size is never gonna dictate your worth. I wish that I would have been told that, because I used to
Mhm.
step on the scale and think that when I was 500 plus pounds that I was not as worthy as what I am now in my weight. So I want people to really hear me when I say that your weight never dictates your worth or how enough you are or how much you matter. It is always about how your heart is and how you treat other people, because you can be the most beautiful person in the world with the ugliest heart, and that's going to make you be an ugly individual. Thanks. Have a good day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on Beyond Belief, Natasha. I just want to remind everyone we are so close to hitting 10,000 views if we haven't already on the podcast. So make sure you go watch our shorts. There's so many great ones out there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Give some love to Miss Natasha today. Put it in the comment. We will see y'all soon. Thank you.
Thanks.